Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1.
It makes me want to hug these guys and kiss them.
It is so good to be back again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Happy Camper Radio Show. This is the place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. Daniel is here with his technology.
Yes, it's very important.
I talk about sitting around the campfire, and here you are with a laptop. What are you into?
It's my controlled fire.
I gave you
inside.
show notes. I gave you show notes, Daniel.
But I'm always, on the website, looking up what people are saying about
I
them.
think you're sitting over there playing games.
All my fan mail. I'm checking all my fan mail.
Oh, you are? Anybody have any nasty comments to
Not yet.
send your way?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
Okay, but Daniel, we've got a great show lined up for everybody today. It is episode 73, and I think our listeners are going to enjoy what we're going to be talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we do anything, we are going to get our campfire lit because the temperatures are starting to drop a little bit.
Are they?
I feel the fall temperatures coming on, Daniel.
Not so much. I think it's supposed to be in the 90s all week.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now, I could be mistaken here.
Right,
but,
right.
We'll have to find out. But, we are now here at the end of August. Next week we will be in September. And what's after September?
Halloween?
It's the burn season.
Oh, well, every day.
Yes, we can start burning our fallen debris in the backyard. It's almost like being at camp.
There's a lot of fallen debris.
There is, and I don't know where it comes from.
There's a big old limb that fell from your house over to my yard, actually.
And it's in your fire pit right now, I'm sure.
Not yet.
It'll work its way there.
It will.
But anyway, hey, we're glad to have you on board with us. Our phone number here is 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to your circles on Google+. Of course, you can access any one of our social media sites and do that very simply by going to our homepage, which is www.happycamperradio.com. Make sure you take some time to look around all the new pictures we've added, some of the videos right there on the homepage. And don't forget to click on the RSS feed button so you can subscribe to the show and never miss a single episode. Well, Daniel, it's been 2 weeks now since we've been in the studio. We pre-recorded last week's show, so we were away for a little bit.
Secrets.
No, well, hey, it still worked out.
Right.
It really did, but I am so glad to be here because now we've got some new shout-outs for everybody. Yes, here we go. Some new folks have signed aboard. First of all, we want to say hello to Bose Camping Equipment and Camper Fanatics, located in the UK, to Outdoor Camping Shop in Australia, Laura Baudette to Carefree RV Resorts, and Carrie Astrid Hoggetto of Winter Springs, Florida. They are all following us on Twitter, and we are so glad to have each and every one of you aboard. Thank you so much for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Our friend Gary, Daniel. This guy, he really amazes me. In the past couple weeks, we have gotten some new updates from him.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can pull up his latest notes. This one here, Daniel.
I read something today.
Yes, 1,565 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far he's traveled. I don't want to say traveled. He walked.
Right.
He's hiked. But some of the pictures that he posted today, or actually these came up yesterday, are probably some of the most breathtaking photos. It really makes me want to go where he is at and visit there now. I'm talking some of the running streams, the mountains. He is so happy to be back in the mountains again. And I was reading here, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, he just had a mosquito bite through his shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the nasty mosquitoes in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I read that.
And the poor guy, man, he's already got problems with his feet. He's already had to have them looked at, and now this nasty mosquito has bit him in the foot. That's no good. But I will say this. Today he is where? In Vermont?
Yeah.
So,
I just saw a post on Facebook that said he was in Vermont now. So he is.
And the last time we talked about him, he was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Climbing over all those rocks, which he hated. Then he went into New York. Then he went into Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to ask him about this thing in Connecticut. They've got apparently a rule about camping and campfires.
Oh,
What
really?
is it with those government people up there? Oh, no. You can't have that.
I don't know about that.
So now, okay, he went into Massachusetts, and today, according to his Facebook page, he is in Vermont.
Yeah, he's killing it. I don't think he I'm not sure, but when was he supposed to be driving up to Maine and hiking back? He might not even have to the way he's going. He might just do it all in one fell swoop. Because Vermont, I mean, what's above Vermont?
I was about to ask you, is Maine the next state?
I think New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
I have to look on my...
I suspect this is going to take him a little while longer now because he is dealing with some mountainous regions.
Yeah, I heard
he's
that's
going to
the
be going
hardest
up
part.
and down and up and down. Yeah, but anyway, Gary, we're thinking about you here. I hope you get an opportunity to run into a cell phone coverage area where you can pick up your phone and give us a call. We are just dying to hear from you and trying to get a grip on how things are going on your venture up the Appalachian Trail. So, definitely, Gary, give us a shout here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. We're always delighted to hear from you. All right, Daniel, a couple weeks ago, I mentioned on the program that I had a topic, or I don't want to say a topic, but something I was going to keep on ice.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Well, the ice has melted.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know about this.
Yes. So today, I'm going to go ahead and let that cat out of the bag. Yeah. And here's what it is, Daniel.
Uh-huh.
We are now up to episode 73.
Ooh.
And it has been a long haul. We have had a lot of fun here. We've had, some guests on the show. And we've had some callers, and of course, I love doing the shout-outs every week, and I know you do too. Anybody that just signs on and has become a new listener, whether they're liking us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter or whatever the case may be. But here's what we're going to do, Daniel. Starting next week, we are going to invite our listeners to talk to you and I on the show in real time.
Ooh.
How about that?
That sounds fun.
I've had a few emails that came in over recent weeks, and some of the folks were asking me, well, how can we take part in the program? Well, Daniel, we're going to go ahead and make that happen. And starting next week, if you have a camping question for Daniel and I and would like to be on the show, we're going to make that happen. Very simply, what you're going to have to do, if you don't already have a Google Plus account, go get one. It's very simple to sign up. It doesn't cost you any money to do that. And definitely add us to your circles. You can find us on the Google Plus pages. Just look for Happy Camper Radio, and there we will be. Here's what Daniel and I will do. When we decide we're going to record a show, we will notify all of our Google Plus listeners who have added us to circles, and we'll find out if they want to be on the show by sending a simple invitation out. We'll tell you the date and the time that we plan on doing the show. Of course, it's going to be Eastern Standard Time because we're here on the East Coast. So if you're on the West Coast, you're going to be, 3 hours behind us?
I think it's 4 Pacific.
No, I believe
Eastern,
it's 3, Daniel.
Central, Mountain, Pacific.
Well, anyway, we will go ahead and let our listeners know when you and I plan to be in the studio to record the show, and we'll give you that Eastern time so you can figure out what time it is where you're at and how many hours behind that you are. And when we put out that invitation, you'll be able to sign on and be able to talk with Daniel and I. And if you have any camping questions or you have a topic you want to discuss, or just sit around the campfire like we're doing right now and having a good conversation, this, my friends, is the place to do it. It's the Happy Camper Radio Show, and we're going to go ahead and start taking calls here at the studio, or should we say around our virtual campground. And really make it exciting for people to participate in the show.
And even if you don't have a question, I mean, if you have a cool story about a camping trip you went on that you want to share with everyone, I mean, that's always welcome.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Those are the absolute best. So here's your opportunity to take part in the Happy Camper Radio Show, to talk with Daniel and I. Hey, and if you have a webcam, that's even better, because we have one here in the studio. So you'll be able to talk to Daniel and I, and not only be able to talk with us, but you'll be able to see us too.
Oh, boy.
And keep in mind that these shows will be recorded for a broadcast at a later time. So, just in case, we run into some technical problems or everything, we can go ahead and deal with them later on. So whenever it does come available to you, you will have a good episode to listen to, a good 30-minute episode. And depending upon the feedback we get, Daniel, and the number of calls, or number of folks interested, we may end up, taking the show on a little bit longer than we normally do. And I've got no problem with that.
Boy.
Hey, when it comes to talking about camping, I could sit here all night long.
Oh, boy.
But some people have to go to work in the morning, and we do understand that some people work for the government.
Like you used to.
Yeah, you're right about that. I used to. Yeah, not anymore. So keep that in mind. Also, if you're interested and you have a topic of discussion or a question or something like that, and a definite interest in being on the show, you can also email Daniel and I. Just go to our homepage, happycamperradio.com. The easiest thing to do is go at the very top of the page where the bar is up on the top, and go ahead and click on the Contact Us button. Just hit that, and you'll be able to email Daniel and I here at the show. So there's another option for you. But definitely get yourself a Google Plus account and add us to your circles. That's how we start. That's how we do it. All right, Daniel. Today we are going to be talking about a subject that's going to take us right back here to the campsite.
Okay.
We are going to talk about fire starters.
The Stephen King novel?
No, not the Stephen King novel.
The Prodigy song?
No, we are going to actually go to the heart of the campground. Keep in mind that we have ventured off on a number of different topics over the past several months, but right now I want to take us right back to where it all begins. And the campfire, again, is the heart of your campsite. Now, some folks take great pleasure in building a campfire. There's usually one or two people that want to take this project on. And building a fire, my friends, is like a piece of art. It's like a piece of fine art. There's preparation. You know what you're doing. You know what you need. You know exactly all the elements that are going to be necessary for you to get that fire started. And that includes dry leaves, twigs and small branches, in some cases kindling wood that is brought from home. Let's also keep in mind too, and we have talked about this on a number of occasions, there are some campgrounds that prohibit the gathering of fallen debris. Mm-hmm. So you've got to keep this in mind too whenever you plan on taking a trip somewhere. Do your research ahead of time and make sure that you know exactly where you're going and what the rules are, because you don't want to break the rules. You don't want to run into any problem. And most definitely purchase your wood locally, unless, of course, you're going to be traveling somewhere close to home, because we've talked about this also, and that's the don'tmovefirewood.org. Mm-hmm. And you can visit that link on our website, too. Just look for it under the link section. This is where we talk about moving firewood from one region to the other, and where a lot of areas don't like this, don't appreciate you doing that. In some cases, it is illegal, because you have these little insects that love to get into different regions and infestate those areas, and in some cases destroy the forestry. So they're trying to avoid that at all costs. If you have the opportunity to purchase your firewood locally, that is the best thing to do, because in many cases, you're going to find dry, seasoned wood for sale. If it's something that you're going to be bringing from home, maybe from a stack in the backyard that has been sitting there for ages, that have not been covered, it may be treated, it may be water soaked, stay away from that if you can. Get your firewood locally, and you probably have a much better campfire when you go ahead and light your fire at the campsite. All right. Remember, one match to light the fire is all you take. It's all it takes. Am I right about that, Daniel?
What if it doesn't happen?
Daniel, I am not like you. All right.
Oh, really?
No, I do not take 5 books of matches in order to get my campfire lit. Again, some people take this very seriously, and some people are very artistic about it. I am one person that likes to light a fire with one match.
That was a big thing in Boy Scouts, that they don't let you have one match. So, but if you build your fire right, I mean, you should probably only need to use one match. I mean, you have to prepare. You have to make sure you know what you're doing. But something I like to do that you probably think is cheating is I get one of those logs, those burn logs that you buy at the store, the starter logs, and just light that on fire. You'll have no problems. Is that cheating?
I don't want to say cheating, but that's taking the cheap way out.
Those things cost $5.
Yeah, okay. I prefer keeping the $5 in my pocket if I can. So I'm going to do everything I can to do it naturally. Again, some people pride themselves with the one-strike method. I say always use stick matches. Some people bring books of matches, but those I don't trust. I like the matches on a stick. I keep them, I have usually 4 or 5 boxes of them, believe it or not. And I keep them in a Ziploc storage bag where they are dry. So I try to avoid those small packages of matches. In some cases, people do use a lighter.
Yeah.
And I don't go for that either. But, hey, to each his own. Whatever may work for you. I cannot stress safety enough. I talk about safety almost every time I'm dealing with something that has to do with fire, whether it be lighting your campfire, lighting your camp stove, or maybe even lighting your lanterns. Safety is paramount. Safety is first and foremost. Always use a designated fire pit. And I think each and every one of us know that goes without question. When you go to a public or private campground, you are going to have a fire ring. You're going to have a fire pit. So make sure that you use those specifically for your campfire. Clear the area surrounding the fire pit. If you have a lot of fallen debris, some leaves, twigs, branches that have been gathering up there for a while, move them out of the way. If they're dry, if they are bone dry, use them. They can help you get your campfire lit. And always, adults should build the fire. They should light the fire and maintain the fire. Please keep children at a safe distance. We know they're going to want to watch. We know they're going to be interested in learning. But you should always keep your children at a distance and never allow them to light the fire until you believe they are at an age where they are mature enough where you can let them do that and be there for them and be there to supervise them. How old is old enough, Daniel? Well, that's, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Some kids are, I've seen some very young individuals who are very mature. I've seen some grown adults who are immature. So, you decide, you're the parent, you decide when your child is old enough to be able to light a fire and be able to do something such as this under the eyes of an adult's supervision. Now, here's something else, Daniel, I want to talk about. In a lot of the campgrounds that I have been to, most of them are going to be an alcohol and drug-free environment.
Yeah.
Because they do promote family unity, they do promote family values, and I can go along with that. In some cases, however, you may be around some individuals, who don't abide by those rules. You may be at a campground that does allow the use of alcohol. Never under any circumstances should a person attempt to light a fire while under the influence.
Right.
This is how accidents happen. And this is something else I want to point out too. I don't care how wet your firewood may be. I don't care how dry it may be. In your case, you like to buy those $5 logs. Again, if you want to waste money, Daniel, that is entirely up to you. But under no circumstances should you ever use gasoline or other liquid accelerants to light that fire. Now, there is one exception, and I will go ahead into that in just a brief second, because it's something that I learned many years ago. And I think it could be very helpful in a situation where, let's say you show up at camp and a rainstorm had just come through there. Everything is soaked, but you still want to have that fire. You still want to enjoy that fire. Now, in some cases, you're going to have situations where there are windy conditions or even red flag warnings. Be mindful of those as well. And you can go to www.noaa.gov, NOAA.gov. That's the National Atmospheric and Oceanic Administration. Did I say that right? NOAA.gov. Anyway, you can find them there, and you can get all the information that you need. The weather conditions, wind conditions. You can find out if you're going to be camping in a red flag area. And you should always, again, do your research ahead of time. You can't go wrong with that.
Well, some campgrounds, they'll have the flags at the campground.
And it's good if they do that. It's also good, too, if they have a ranger station nearby. Because they will definitely let you know the do's and the don'ts, and you can do this and you can't do that.
Right.
So you don't want to be in a situation where you're violating the law. You're setting a fire that's going to endanger not only the wildlife and the forestry around you, but other campers who may be in that area. So also keep that in mind, too. It's good to have kindling wood available. Sometimes they're available for purchase, and they're not very expensive. And here's something else, Daniel. Again, when I talk about an exception to using a liquid accelerant, here's something I learned a long time ago, and I read this in a magazine, and I found it very interesting and very fascinating. In a downpour situation, and this is going back to many, many years ago when I used to go hunting. Of course, I don't do that no more.
Right.
But I read in a magazine where if you're in a situation where it is raining, you want to build a fire, you know you can't do it because of the weather conditions, you can start building a small fire. You carry one of those little jars of rubber cement with you.
Oh, okay.
All right, build your little teepee or your little hut or whatever you want to call it there with your sticks and your twigs. Put them on top of that. Put your rubber cement on top of that, and you can light that fire in a downpour.
Wow.
Okay, again, you need to be very, very precautious anytime you're doing something like this. I'm not saying that I endorse this. I can tell you it worked for me. But there's one method. Here's another thing, too. You can create your own fire starters. I've read a lot about this, too.
Yeah, I'm reading a lot of different ways you can do a fire starter.
Yeah, with toilet tissue rolls and dryer lint. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Now, some people claim they don't work. Again, you're going to have to experiment. I have some people who swear by it. I have some people say, no, it just will never work. I've also heard cotton balls and petroleum jelly work very well. And you very simply insert them into these empty toilet tissue rolls, and you seal them up on both sides, and you've got a fire starter.
There's another one I see. It says, pack charcoal in paper egg cartons and tie shut when ready to use. Light the carton. So, the little charcoal.
Is charcoal the pre-soaked type?
Probably.
All right. There's another method as well.
There's a bunch of different ways to make your own fire starter. I just prefer the lazy man's way of getting those logs at Walmart.
Well, Daniel, if it works for you and you want to spend the money, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. All right. But for myself, I like to enjoy the primitive lifestyle if I can, and that all begins by camping in a tent.
Yeah,
you bring your gear out there, you plan ahead of time, and again, if you can have some dry wood available,
that helps.
It really does help. Again, do your research. Look online. Find out where you're going to go camping. Find out the do's and the don'ts. Get an idea of the geographical area. go to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. I got it right that time. NOAA.gov, and you can get all your weather information there, as well as red flag warnings and anything else that you need. I like them too because they do have an extended forecast.
Yep.
You can look like 7 days ahead.
Oh, really?
To get an idea of what your weather's going to be like. Nobody enjoys the rain, Daniel. Nobody likes to be rained out when you go to a campground, but sometimes it does happen. It's always good to look ahead of time to find out what your weather conditions are going to be like, because then you can plan ahead too for your campfires. Always bring that tarp along with you, so if you do have any firewood stacked, you don't want that to get wet. You want to keep it as dry as you possibly can. Again, folks, I want to emphasize safety. Safety is paramount. Safety is first and foremost. Whatever you do, anytime that you're lighting a campfire, anytime you're lighting any kind of fire whatsoever, please take the time to be cautious. Take the time to watch where your kids are, what they're doing, and what have you. And, you just can't go wrong. Make sure that you have a safe environment.
Make sure you have some water nearby, because you never know if it gets out of hand. That's always a good thing to have.
Yeah, or if you want to even invest in a small fire extinguisher, you might even have one in the trunk of your vehicle.
Yeah,
bring that out and keep that handy. Daniel, it's time now for our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. This week, Daniel, we are going to go to the state of Kentucky to a campground on the Nolan River Lake. It is called Dog Creek, and it is run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This campground is open all the way through Saturday, September the 27th. So you still got about another month ahead of time. If you happen to be in the Kentucky area and you're looking for a neat place to go camping, they've got a lot of great sites, a lot of great amenities there. You can take a look at a few of the pictures that they have on their website, and it's going to be on our homepage all week long. This area is known for unique blue-green water. Have you ever seen that type of water environment?
No, Daniel. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, okay. Well, Nolan Lake is one of the top lakes in Kentucky for catfish, bass, crappie, and walleye fishing. If you're an angler, this is going to be paradise for you if you happen to be visiting the Kentucky area. Check out all the information on their website. Activities and amenities include beach access, a boat ramp, drinking water, electrical hookups if you're bringing your RV or your motorhome, all right, hiking, a marina, playground for the kids, showers, swimming trails. A lot of information is right there. Check out some of the information where it says know before you go. You want to make sure you have all that information available to you. And this here is one of those areas, Daniel, where they're not crazy about you collecting firewood around your campsite. So, if you can purchase it locally and burn it right there on the site, you can do that. And there's also a little button there that says click here for more information. Check that out too. But it's a great place to go camping if you happen to be in the Kentucky area. And you might want to check this out. It is a little bit northeast of Bowling Green. If you're familiar with Kentucky at all, check this campground out. It is Dog Creek, and it is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, all you've got to do is send me an email, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or the guy with a laptop,
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
By all means, let us see a photograph or send us the link to the campground so we can include that here on our website when we talk about it as our featured campground of the week here on the show. Well, Daniel, it's been a great episode. I've enjoyed having you around this week. We have a lot of things to talk about. And next week, Daniel, like we say, we're going to go ahead and shoot those invitations out for anybody who wants to be on the Happy Camper Radio and have an opportunity to talk with Daniel and I and be guests on our show. Maybe we'll get about 3 or 4 people per episode. It would be great. I mean, if that many people want to be a part of the show, I'm looking so forward to it.
I am too. I love talking to new people.
So we'll give that a shot and then see how that works. Don't forget, you can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to your circles on Google+. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. Woo. And you, my friends, can be a happy camper too. We'll talk to you next week. This is Happy Camper Radio.